Tampa Bay's apartment market turned in a very solid performance in 2010 as revenue growth came in just above the U.S. norm. But concerns remain about this one. Welcome to Apartment Market Dynamics from MPF Research. I'm Jay Parsons with your Tampa Bay update. Let's start with the big number, annual revenue change in 2010. Tampa Bay's apartment market recorded annual revenue growth of 4.4%. That's just above the U.S. norm of 4%, so it's pretty much a middle-of-the-pack performer. And among the major Florida markets, Tampa came in behind Miami, Jacksonville, and Fort Lauderdale, but ahead of Orlando and West Palm Beach. And you see Jacksonville high on that list, and that's really because this one was hit so hard during the recession, and so the recovery there is only beginning to make up for the losses, especially on the occupancy front. And it's a pretty similar story in Tampa. Tampa's occupancy rate really plunged in 2008 and also in 2009. So while revenues are up, there's still a long way to go for Tampa's apartment market to enter into full recovery. Tampa still ranks in the nation's bottom third for total occupancy at just 91.9%. Occupancy did improve 1.8 points in 2010, but the overall rate is still well below the rate of 94% or so seen in 2007 prior to the recession. And shifting gears to rental rates, Tampa's apartment operators really didn't slash rents too aggressively during the recession, and they were already raising rents again by early 2010. Rents climbed on a quarterly basis in each of the past 4 quarters, and that added up to annual rent change of 2.6%. Not overly aggressive, but that is above the U.S. norm of 2.3%, and that is somewhat significant for a market that still is struggling with occupancy. So, what's driving that movement? Well, it's really at the top end of the market. Big rent growth in 2000s era communities up 6%. Also in 1990s era communities up 4%. Not much rent movement yet in the older communities, and that's pretty typical for the South region as a whole. We tend to see the recovery first in the top end of the market. But even those rent increases are a little surprising because occupancy rates aren't that great even in the top tier product, around 92 to 93%. And that is a big concern for Tampa's apartment market going forward, occupancy rates being pretty weak across the board. And there's a big reason for that. And that is that Tampa built way too many single-family homes and apartments during this last cycle. In fact, among all of the major Florida markets, Tampa ranks as the worst for total housing overhang, and so there's just a lot of vacant units in both the single-family home sector and in the apartment sector, and it's just going to take a lot of time to work through that. And as a result, that's probably going to hinder long-term rent growth potential, at least for the next few years. Let's close it out with a look at one key submarket in the Tampa Bay area, the Town and Country submarket, which is arguably Tampa's healthiest as of year-end 2010. This one bottomed out pretty early in the cycle with occupancy down to 91.3% in 1Q 2010, but it has seen occupancy bounce back 2.8 points since then, up to 94.1%, even though there's been a moderate amount of new supply on the market competing for renters. Still a little work to do to get back to the pre-recession levels of occupancy, around 95% or so, but certainly encouraging results thus far, and that's led to very solid rent growth. Same-store rents climbed 4.1% in 2010, and that's the biggest increase seen here in 4 years. So that wraps us up for Tampa. Until next time, for Apartment Market Dynamics and MPF Research, I'm Jay Parsons. Thank you for watching.
Want more? Go deeper with NPF Research's apartment market reports. From a national level, down to individual metros, to specific neighborhoods, NPF Research has been providing unparalleled apartment market intelligence to the multifamily industry for almost 5 decades. Learn more by contacting us at 877-284-4938 or visit www.npfresearch.com and click on Market Reports.